wasn't. Eddie didn't want it to be funny. He wanted it to be serious, and he was acting very difficult. So Wes couldn't get the humor he needed to get out of him.
So Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
One of the, and still, even after all his failures,
he's
one of the funniest human beings to ever grace this planet.
Yes.
Didn't want comedy.
Yeah.
Now, again, I say at the beginning of this that maybe it would have been better if it was a straight horror, so maybe he was right.
Maybe.
But hey, Eddie, maybe you don't put a random scene where you're trying to be funny and make up halfway through this thing.
Here's my thing.
That whole Preacher Polly thing, why is it in there then if you don't want funny?
The studio made him put it in. That was what was said earlier. The studio made comedy in it. But my whole thing is that he always wants to get away from comedy, and people won't let him.
Well, when you're Eddie fucking Murphy,
I mean, in all fairness, my girl wants to party all the time. Nobody understood that song. It's a good song, but everyone's like, how the fuck did Eddie Murphy write this song? Because, it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
And it's just, they don't want to let him not be funny.
You don't want to be one-dimensional. I understand
They
that.
do now, but back then they didn't. And I'm like, yeah, because, Eddie Murphy was fucking hilarious. Do what Jim Carrey did. Ride your career for like 20 years doing nothing but comedy, then branch out.
Yep.
Don't try and do it halfway through, man.
Yeah, don't do it 10 years in.
Yeah. Take your time. And Jim Carrey had a very successful drama career. He can act.
And Eddie Murphy can too.
Watch Dreamgirls. Yeah, he's able to do it.
Watch Dreamgirls. He's the best part of that film.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't all doom and gloom. He did praise Eddie, Wes did.
Well, because Eddie's Eddie, right?
Though stating that the fact that he was able to play three characters so seamlessly was quite remarkable, which is the most Wes Craven phrase there ever was.
That's Eddie Murphy's bread and butter, though.
Yeah, he's capable of it.
He's probably the most capable I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about the flicks, his ability to do that is ridiculous.
That scene
insane.
in that. Well, again, we'll get to it when we get to Nutty Professor. That scene, that first scene where he's literally talking to himself 5 or 6 times over.
That was the reason they got a sequel. That was a sequel about the family because of how damn good it was.
Yeah.
And if anyone has anything negative to say about that first Nutty Professor movie, come at me, because that one is awesome.
It's his last good movie.
It really is. I mean, I've always stated, and I will state until the end of time.
That was 21 years ago.
Yeah. I will state until the end of time, Eddie Murphy is one of the funniest human beings on the planet when he can say the word fuck. When he goes all family picture about it, it's why bother?
Yeah.
But that's just me. Overall, Wes said, I thought it was good, fun little film. And it was nice to get a chance to do comedy, but I think the script really hampered it. No shit.
Mm-hmm. That's him being diplomatic.
This is the section where people are now saying what they liked about it.
Now, you can't see this. I'm going to let you in a little secret. The sheet that he's holding does not have a lot of words on it.
No. And trust me, this is not fans. These are people working.
Oh, Jesus. So it's people being paid to say this.
No, they're not paid. They're not paid to see it. I mean...
Not directly.
The names that... Well, one of the names he might be paid for, but the other two, not so much.
Okay.
So the great John Witherspoon has said it's one of his favorite movies. He had a chance to holler and scream.
They let him be him.
Yeah, about Wes Craven, he said, Wes, oh my God, he's funny. He's hilarious. So they let me ad-lib. But the worst thing about ad-libbing is that when you shoot it again, you don't remember what you said. So he would take notes and tell me what I said. And I'd be like, I said that?
Now cut to Wes Craven. Mm-hmm. And his, whatever.
The
stoic,
the straightest, stoic, most white man you've ever thought of.
Just writing down John Witherspoon lines. Probably just...
Yeah.
Laughing behind the camera.
I mean, if anyone can keep a straight face while John Witherspoon is talking, you are a better human than I am, because I could not. That's why I do not ever, if I were ever to be an actor, I do not want to be in a John Witherspoon movie, because I will fail.
I love that he just keeps coming up on all these movies we're doing. That's amazing.
It's just because the man is awesome, and I'm happy about it. So, Kadeem Hardison says about the movie, it's his favorite movie he's ever worked on, and relates the story how he was cast after auditioning with Eddie, one of his heroes. No shit.
He was really good in the movie.
Comedian in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, Eddie Murphy was your hero. That's just the law. Eddie called him personally, saying, I've seen the tapes, you're the only one in town that can do this. And I was like, oh shit, okay.
I love that the two people you're saying are like the actual two good actors in this movie, like the two best actors.
Yeah, the two people who actually are good in the movie. Yeah. Although one of the writers, Chris Parker, says about the movie, I don't want to disparage Vampire in Brooklyn. I love it. I'm glad it happened.
Jesus
That's
Christ!
all you can say.
Was there a gun pointed to your head? Blink twice if you're being held captive, Chris.
I forgot to look up. I wanted to see if Chris Parker ever did anything else.
Good look. I love this movie. It was great.
My question is,
can you release my family now?
Did Chris Parker do anything else? That's what I want to know before we get into this movie.
Because it's like,
if he didn't, then that would explain it. That would explain it. If he's just like, I'm glad it happened. It's just like, oh, you got one gig. That's why. I
bought a nice studio apartment off that gig.
Yeah, exactly. Just let me look this up real quick. Try talking to the people.
I mean, seriously, though.
Thank you.
No, but like, honestly, like, that statement was maybe the most robotic.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely like, I'm glad it happened. Like, wow, that's a ringing endorsement. It has a 4.0 rating on IMDb, by the way.
Out of
10.
Well, that's kind of funny.
I mean, again, the people who like this movie said shit. Well, Chris Parker doesn't have a picture on IMDb, so that doesn't really bode well for him.
Not a lot of writers would they?
He might have gone all kinds of Jesus.
One of those.
He might have turned into a Jesus guy. He wrote.
Hey, there's money in them movies.
Oh, I know.
There's money in them Jesus pictures.
His last screenwriting credit was a movie called Heaven Is for Real.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. He went full.
He went full Jesus. Although before that, he had a movie called Battle for the Year. Sorry, I don't know what the fuck that is.
But he's worked.
He wrote Mulan 2, 9 years after Vampire in Brooklyn, he wrote Mulan 2.
Oh, what? So he didn't work for 9 years?
Doesn't seem to, unless he's done other... No, he has
Okay,
not.
well, fair enough.
He literally did that, and then 10 years later got another one. He does have a couple movies in the hopper. A movie called 44.
Sure.
A movie called Unleash the Mules.
Sure.
And Amalia Rules. I don't know what any of this
all
shit
right.
are.
Well, good luck, Mr. Parker.
Yeah.
And all your work.
Good on you. Sure.
So we do start with his movie from 1995.
Do we have to? 95.
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
With Julius and Silas.
Mm-hmm.
Watchmen, shipmen, or they watch the dock?
They're just
dock workers?
Yeah, they're just the dock workers. Like, they're kind of
I think Julius is a dock worker and Silas is the night watchman.
Yeah, so like when you're referencing, like, let's reference a movie you've actually seen. Ghostbusters 2, I think.
Yeah.
Where the ship comes in, and I think it's Cheech Marin, who's like, where they were like, the Titanic just came in. It's like, better late than never. Those are basically what these two are doing.
Yeah. And a ship crashes.
Yes.
Just full bore.
Mm-hmm. Goes right in. I do
like
enjoy the
Kool-Aid Man,
yeah.
I
do enjoy the fact that, like, I guess they're so used to the noises and shit that, like, they're watching a game show. One of the final appearances of, what's his name? Ray Combs.
As host of the...
Yeah, because he actually killed himself not long after this.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I didn't really want to put that in there, but it just occurred to me now that this is one of his final movie appearances. Because he was a comedian.
Okay.
But, you know.
Hosting the feud, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
they don't hear a ginormous, like, a massive ship.
Just
comes.
Just like a massive oil tanker, like, looking thing.
So they do figure, like, what the Jesus is that?
Mm-hmm.
So they go check it out because it's still a kind of a horror movie. Mm-hmm. Don't check it out, but you got to check it out.
Yeah.
Flashlight and everything. Line of the film from John Witherspoon, of course. Ahoy, motherfucker! I said ahoy! Great.
Yes, if I could have found that one, I would have absolutely put it in the
ahoy,
intro.
motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
No answer.
Yeah.
They find dead bodies.
Yep.
Everywhere.
Yeah, but then...
His ship is full of dead bodies.
But then Julius got to bounce.
Yeah, because he's
like, I got to meet a chick, so you got this? Even though it's like, no! Dead people!
I can confidently say...
Yes.
Mr. Julius, I do not have this.
No, I do not have this. I do need help.
But no, he bounces.
Mm-hmm.
Later kicked out of his wife, of his girlfriend's house. Or I don't know if it's his girlfriend or his booty call.
I think. But yeah, he left to get kicked out. So Julius not having a good day.
And all Silas found was a wolf, like a big ass wolf.
Yes,
as he described it, turn into a man.
Mm-hmm.
Who wrote this? Mr. Parker?
Yeah.
Mr. Murphy? Charlie Murphy?
Charlie Murphy, Parker, and some other dude.
All y'all, can you meet me over here? Just meet me over here so I can just huddle in.
Yeah.
Vampires are not werewolves.
The hell you say?
Those are two... I know it's ridiculous arguing things like vampires or werewolves. None of this shit exists, but like, if you're gonna make a vampire movie...
Yeah.
Don't have him be a wolf. Especially because we never see him turn into a wolf again.
No.
For the rest of the film.
No. And, I mean, this is so weird because the Twilight woman got this right. Vampires and werewolves are not friends. They don't get along. They're, in fact, enemies.
It's the only thing the Twilight got right.
Yeah. Like, what's next? Eddie Murphy did kind of sparkle, so I can't give him shit for that. But, like, it's just... it's immediately you're just like, well, this is wrong.
Like, it's a cool enough shot. It's a shadow of a building of a big wolf turning into a man. Like,
all of the effects in this movie are really good.
But like, when we're going through lore and stuff, and you're trying to keep up with lore,
and they try.
Don't make a werewolf a vampire.
Yeah, and they also
because the rest of the film is they go into real details about like,
and they created their own lore of how he exists. They talk about the fact that, I believe it was them saying, like, yeah, the vampires traveled through Africa, and then he was trying to find something.
Before this, the opening of the film is Eddie Murphy doing a VO of, like, the history of his character.
Yeah, like, he gives a legitimate reason why he exists. Yeah. Which is great. Although it's weird that, like, that's a voiceover, but then we don't get another voiceover for, like, an hour.
Yep.
And I'm like, wait, when did this start? Very bad, but whatever.
But
it was a good lore.
Who also is a numbers runner, has run afoul of the mob.
Yes,
and they catch up with him,
like you do.
So he thinks it's Tony, but it's Anthony. Tony's in the car.
Yes, and more connections. One of the gangsters is Jesus Garcia from A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Anthony,
is that his name?
Yes.
All right,
because Tony's in the car.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And
oh no, sorry, I think it was Anthony. It was the bald guy.
Yeah, the bald guy was Mitch Pileggi.
Okay, that's Mitch Pileggi.
Another Wes Craven alumni, but we'll get to that in a couple weeks.
Wes
Craven just called in every favor he had.
He literally went, hey, I need a person to do a thing. Can you come in for a day? Sure.
Well, this is I mean, Jesus took time off from being a big fan of Jesus. I fell down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
No, he followed this dude. I wanted to talk about this. This is so weird. He follows this dude who I think might have actually died recently, named John Roger.
Okay.
Who is John Roger DSS, Doctor of Spiritual Sciences. And Jesu is one of his main followers, he is also a Doctor of Spiritual Sciences, so he loves him some Jesus.
So what the hell is he doing in a vampire movie?
I think this might have been pre-Jesus, or it might have been on the way to Jesus. I don't know. But that is so baffling from this guy who's like mainly in horror films to be also writing and producing and starring in these like way into Jesus flicks, and it's such a strange.
It happened.
Follow it up. It's fascinating.
So as he's about to get done in by these two gentlemen, Max Emilian shows up.
Yes.
Is immediately shot down because they're like, "Are you crazy?
It's like, you don't fly in here, bitch."
Bang, bang, bang. He falls down. And they're like, we got him. One more for you, Julius. And then he like swoops up.
Flies kind
of Undertaker's up there. And then he explains like he's been stabbed.
Yeah, this is where he does that. I've been stabbed. I've been even been put on a rack. Never been shot before. Kind of itches.
Yep. And then he kind of just pushes out the bullets. And then he just eats the shit out of them. Rips them apart.
Yep.
Follows Julius, kind of like horror movie style. Like Julius is running, and he turns a corner and he's there.
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, you hungry? I can go right down to KFC get you 2-piece." And then one of the only actual good jokes that land in this film is like, "No, I've already had Italian."
And he spits out an ear. Which comes into play later, which you wouldn't think, but it does.
Little bit of his blood on Julius's tongue makes him his ghoul.
Yes.
His
Renfield.
His Renfield.
From the
is
original
this following?
Dracula. No.
Like, very loosely.
It's following it in a sense of Dracula arrived on a boat with Renfield. In one of the creepiest shots in the history of cinema, they find the boat, and then they open the door, and Renfield is already there. And he's just standing there in the doorway laughing. And if you've never seen this, look it up. It is fucking terrifying, even for today, and it was 1932.
Oh, so you're talking like original Hammer.
Original, no, not Hammer.
Not
this
even
is
Hammer,
this
this
is
is
Universal Monsters
Universal?
Dracula,
Yeah, okay.
based on Bram Stoker's book. It's not